Hey guys, Rob here with McDojoLife. In today's McDojo news, we're going to talk about how a former martial arts instructor in Ocean Springs just pled guilty to felony charges of sexually assaulting a minor. Let's check out the story. Former Ocean Springs martial arts instructor Alan Todd Pisarich pleaded guilty to felony charges for sexually assaulting a minor girl. Pisarich, age 54, pleaded guilty on Monday to 6 counts of sexual battery and 3 counts of touching a child for lustful purposes. He entered the plea before Judge Calvin Taylor and was sentenced to serve 20 years, day for day, in prison. The judge also ordered Pisarich to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. When the crimes occurred at different times, beginning in 2016, Pisarich owned the Academy of Mixed Martial Arts on Old Spanish Trail in Ocean Springs. He led the martial arts center and taught Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a combat sport focusing on grappling and ground fighting. He accepted students as young as 3 years old. In 2017, Jackson County Sheriff's deputies arrested Pisarich, then 50, on 2 counts of sexual battery for assaulting one minor teen. By December 2018, authorities arrested him again, this time for sexually assaulting another victim. For years since his arrest and subsequent indictments, the families of those involved have fought to get the case tried. The trial was delayed at least 14 times during the COVID-19 pandemic, with 5 delays blamed on coronavirus, and most of the others due to request by then-attorney Wendy Martin. According to authorities, Pisarich preyed on minor girls and sexually assaulted them after first developing a relationship with a relative of the minor girls. Pisarich had been free on bond pending trial before his guilty plea. Prior to his sentencing, the judge heard from 2 of the victims and 2 mothers. One of those victims, Serena Goldsberry, who was 8 years old when she met Alan Todd Pisarich at his martial arts studio in Ocean Springs, asked to be identified by name. Like some of the other victims, Goldsberry had been a student at the Martial Arts Academy, and soon after, Pisarich assumed the role of father figure. Instead, he abused that trust and sexually assaulted Goldsberry on various occasions for years. He knew my past of not having a father figure, and he wanted to be the hero in that aspect and stepped into my life, said Goldsberry. He was everything but that. Todd hurt me physically and emotionally. He pretended to be my father while he had me in his bedroom pretending to be my husband, she said. I was a kid, a child, who Alan Todd Pisarich raped and abused, she said. He turned me into something I wasn't. He acted like he was coming into my life and being, quote, there for me. He painted a picture of what he wished he could be. For years after the abuse began, she lived in fear until the 8th grade when she told a friend and then a teacher about the abuse. I was scared. I was really, really scared. I told my friend and then we went and told a teacher. Then I had to put on a face and seem like it was okay and go see my family that night and not talk about it. Until everything came out, said Goldsberry. The teacher contacted law enforcement, and Pisarich was indicted in 2017 on sexual battery of a child and touching a child for lustful purposes. She talked about how the people in the community supported Pisarich and called her a liar. Later, a second victim came forward and more charges were filed. What hurt the most, though, was having to hear all the other victims testify and realize I wasn't the first victim and the abuse happened back in the 90s, Goldsberry said. He essentially did the same thing in their lives. Came in and tried to be a father figure to them, be a hero, and then betrayed them and their trust. 2 more victims came forward in court along with Goldsberry, and the second victim addressed Pisarich directly. He stole my childhood from me with his actions and threats, and I can never get that back. Today, I am 22 years old, and I will begin to live my best life 8 years later without fear from him or anyone else. While the victims read their statements, Goldsberry said Pisarich looked unfazed by their words. He didn't change his facial expressions. Nothing. He said he was guilty, but I still feel he doesn't feel sorry for anything he did, said Goldsberry. He didn't just hurt us and the victims. He hurt his family too at the end of the day. Goldsberry's mother, Ashley Noble, was also in the courtroom. I heard things I've never heard before because I didn't press my daughter to tell me these things because I was always told she will tell me when she's ready, Noble said. It was very difficult to hear the things that had been done for the first time. But when I saw him in handcuffs, it was like this is happening. He's not going to be able to hurt another person. Todd Allen Pisarich lived 2 lives. A public life of a trusted community member and coach, and a private life where he used young girls for his depraved sexual satisfaction, said District Attorney Angel Myers Mickelrath. Pisarich's victims have been through hell. They endured sexual abuse, faced hurdle after hurdle in the community and court system, and now live with the aftermath of sexual abuse. This sentence delivers justice to his victims and ensures he will never hurt another child again. Assistant District Attorneys Nikki Huffman and Carolyn Lewis prosecuted the case. We teach our children to tell us if someone hurts them, Huffman said. Then, so often when they tell, the victim is not believed. Pisarich admitted in open court to his sexual abuse of these victims, Huffman said. There can be no doubt in the community that these girls told the truth. Judge Taylor put it best when he recognized the victim's courage and defendant's cowardice. Huffman says she is proud of the strength that the victims showed by standing up and facing their abuser. We always want victims to tell their stories. We want them to come forward, said Huffman. And today was a day for women in that courtroom. They got up, they told their stories, they faced their accusers, and he admitted what he did. As a woman, it was very moving to be a part of that. Goldsberry and her family said they are ready to move forward and put this nightmare behind them. Let's unpack that. So this piece of human waste has been molesting people since the 90s. Not only had he been molesting minors since the 90s, he'd already been caught for it. Finally, so imagine you're one of those victims and you get to meet one of the other victims in the courtroom for the first time and you hear their story. And you hear about how he himself had already been busted for this before. Wouldn't you be a little pissed at the justice system? How horrendous is something like this? And unfortunately, I have to cover stories like this all the time. We need checks and balances here. If someone's already been caught for molesting children, how the are they allowed back around children? Especially in terms of a job. It's dumbfounding to me how many of these cases I do over and over and over again, and sometimes some of the names are repeat offenders. The man just got sentenced to another 20 years. He's going to be in prison for another 20 years. But before then, he gets 5 years out supervised? How is that justice for the victims? In my opinion, that's a slap in their face. While I'm glad that he's going to wind up having to serve another 20, he shouldn't be allowed the other 5 to just be walking out and about, potentially bumping into one of his victims again. But after years of covering stories like this, I think I have a solution. Today, I'm going to give you a statement of the day. I've recently partnered up with a company called Zen Planner, who is a CRM system. That usually means that they take care of your credit card processing payments and scheduling for martial arts studios, things like that. Zen Planner has agreed to build my website, and we've been working on it diligently. On that website, there's going to be a search feature, and that search feature will allow you to type in an instructor's name. When you search that instructor's name, you'll be able to see if that person has been featured on McDojoLife. You'll also be able to find out if that person has been charged or convicted of some type of sexual abuse or some type of egregious crime. So rather than waiting around to try to figure out if there's a solution here, I'm trying to help create a solution. Some type of an Angie's List type website that will allow us to vet our instructors, not based off of if they won some stupid ass trophy, if they can choke someone, if they're good at hurting people. Who gives a shit? I don't care how good your instructor is. If that person has been convicted of a sexually related crime, they should not be in this industry. We're building something here. This is more than just bitching and moaning online. This is us trying to figure out solutions, and I've been able to do so by all of you. All of your continued support, answering questions of the day, allowing me to get a consensus of what the community is looking for to make this better. Now we go to the question of the day. What would you like to see on our website? What features would you like to see on the website other than this search feature? One thing we'll have there is an events page in which people will be able to advertise their particular events, like a jiu-jitsu tournament, karate tournament, private lessons, self-defense classes, whatever the case may be, that'll be there. We'll also have all the updates, and we'll solidify and try to make sure that all the McDojoLife content is all kept in one place. It'll also allow me to get news to you in a better way. Be sure to answer that question in the comment sections below so that way I know that you watched the entire video. As always, thank you all for the likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, and memberships. Keep the martial arts legit.
Things just haven't been the same, living strange since my baby joined that dojo.